All right, welcome in, folks. Appreciate you guys joining me here. All right. Let's get rolling here. What day is today? Today, Wednesday, April 2nd. Son of a gun. I got on April Fool's Day. Here's my excuse, though. How many of you guys have no clue what day of the week it is, yet alone what day of the month it is? Yesterday, I wake up. I've got no clue. It's April 1st. I get on Twitter, and I see Tiger Woods posting some nonsense, and he says, despite the fact that I just ruptured my Achilles a couple weeks ago, I got some great doctors. I got explosive lifts going on, and I'm coming back for the Masters. I'm like, whoa, Tiger's coming back to the Masters. I don't think about a ruptured Achilles. Hey, if Aaron Rodgers come back in a year, maybe Tiger Woods come back in 2 weeks. Posted in my group chat for my work thread, and 10 minutes later, Tiger says April Fools. All right, my excuse is I didn't know it was April 1st, okay? Hopefully you guys got at least once or twice. I'm not the only idiot out there in the world, but I am an idiot, so I very well could be the only idiot that's out there. And April's off to a good start. So don't have anything earth-shattering for you guys tonight. Great way to get you guys dialed in for the podcast. Nothing earth-shattering tonight, right? But I do have a few things to go over with you. NFL had their owners' meetings going on, and out of the owners' meetings, somewhere with the palm tree, keep in mind, those guys aren't getting together out in the winter anywhere. A nice, beautiful beach in the background. You see Kyle Shanahan's nice and bronzed. All the owners, all the coaches got a nice little tan going on. They did get together, and at these meetings, they voted on some new rules. So what are the new rules? I'll tell you all about them. I'll tell you how it's going to could it affect the Broncos, and what I like, what I do not like. There has been a little bit of news. We've been waiting on news from the Broncos with three guys. There's three contracts that are on the horizon. It's Zach Allen, it's Courtland Sutton, it's Nick Benito. We did get a small piece of news regarding Courtland Sutton and contract negotiations with the Denver Broncos. I'll tell you what's going on there. And Sean Payton is downplaying the necessity to draft a running back high. Don't believe him. It's all lies. They'll draft a running back high. And then finally, got to talk about that Nuggets-Timberwolves game last night. What a freaking heartbreaker that was. Timberwolves have now swept the Nuggets on the season. The Nuggets don't lose a lot, yet alone do they lose a lot to the same team, and they are losing a lot to the same team, the Minnesota Timberwolves. And I'm officially nervous about playing the Timberwolves in the playoffs. What happened last night, it was a heartbreaker. If you guys didn't see it, it went late, double overtime. Russell Westbrook had an opportunity to win the game. Instead, he lost the game 2 different ways. We'll dive into all of that as well. But before we get going, as always, I need to take a second here to thank my sponsors. Safeway is my title sponsor of Mount Polumbus Speaks. Appreciate all you guys that have been watching Mount Polumbus Speaks. If you're not subscribed, make sure you hit that link in my bio on Twitter. Go on over to YouTube, hit subscribe. I put my content out over there. It lives over there. And I put unique content out. You make sure you don't want to miss out on any of that. But I couldn't do this without Safeway. I've been working with Safeway now for 5 or 6 years in business efforts and charitable efforts, and I'm so grateful to them for all the amazing things they've done in the world for ovarian cancer in honor of my mother. And they're just an incredible grocery store. If you don't have the Safeway app, you're missing out. You got to download that app right now. Skip the delivery service apps, download the Safeway app, order directly on their app. They're going to save you a boatload of money. They're going to save you a boatload of time, and you're going to get that food delivered directly to your door. I just saved my order. It's on there. I add 4 or 5 different things every week. It literally takes me less than 5 minutes to put in my weekly order at Safeway. Before I know it, it's sitting at my doorstep, and I get to redeem points that I get to use for discounts that you can use now down the road, whatever you want to do with it. Just order online. Safeway's going to handle the rest for you. Safeway, fresh foods, local flavors. Shout out to Safeway, and shout out to Sin Barbershop in the Parker area. If you are not in the Parker area, I don't have my hair done right now. Got the hats on, but they are my barber. They do a phenomenal job. Alfred Castro's my man. I work with Anthony sometimes if I can't get in with Alfred. It's a luxury barbershop experience, and you'll never go back. So skip great clips, skip all the cheap cuts. Go to Ascend Barbershop. It's in the Parker area. Let them know Tyler sent you on over. I promise you they're going to get you taken care of. I promise you it's going to be the best haircut and beard trim of your life. First-class service. Okay, so I don't know whether we should start with the Timberwolves and Nuggets or if we should start with NFL new rules. I guess I'm going to start with the Nuggets Timberwolves. I think that's where I'm going to go first because, man, that freaking sucked. And, look, I'm not telling you that I'm terrified of playing the Timberwolves in the playoffs, but I'm terrified of playing the Timberwolves in the playoffs. So I guess I'm telling you that. I mean, here's the deal. Can the Nuggets beat the Timberwolves in a 7-game series? Hell yeah, of course they can. Nuggets have not had all their starters out there, nor did they last night. Jamal Murray was not out there. MPJ was not out there. And they gave the Timberwolves a run for their money. If you didn't get to see the game, it was a late one. Went into double overtime. And it was a big deal. This game tonight's a joke. Like I've got it on the TV right now. I'm barely even paying attention to it. All 5 starters are pretty much out for the Nuggets. And it's a joke. Last night was not a joke. Last night was very, very serious. You've lost every game this season to the Minnesota Timberwolves, a team that is built to beat the Denver Nuggets, from Tim Connolly to their coach who came from the Nuggets, and that's exactly what they've been doing. They've been beating the Denver Nuggets. How worried are you about the future of Malone? Well, I'll put it this way. You don't win a championship and things are going to change. I don't know if Malone's going to be the change, but there's going to be sweeping changes for the Nuggets in the offseason if they don't win a championship. You just can't blow another year of the Nikola Jokic window. Nikola Jokic goes for 61 points last night. 61 freaking points, and the Denver Nuggets still cannot sneak out a victory. And the crazy part about it is all 4 times that Jokic has gone for 50-plus points in his career, the Nuggets have lost all of those games. All of them. Now, here's the deal. There's a lot of guys that will go for 50-plus points. But most of those guys, that's just what they do. Why do the Nuggets lose when Jokic goes for 50-plus? Because Jokic only goes for 50-plus when he has to do it. He only goes for 50-plus when he's looking at his teammates. He's like, where you guys at? Nobody wants to play? Jokic played, I think it was 53 minutes last night, maybe 52 minutes, basically the entirety of the basketball game. He never starts the fourth quarter. He started the fourth quarter last night and played the entirety of the game because they really wanted to beat the Timberwolves. That was a must-win situation. Some people were debating whether Malone used Jokic too much. I did not see the reports from ESPN that Malone – link? Proof? I've not seen that. I'd be very curious to see that. Send in the link if you could. Jokic only goes for 50, 60 points when his teammates ain't getting it done. All these other guys that do it, they do it just because they like to shoot. Jokic doesn't like to score 60 points. He doesn't want to do that. And Malone played him a lot because it was a must-win situation. Unfortunately, they did not win it in a must-win situation. And at the end of the game, Russell Westbrook, Christian Brown, they're playing hot potato. There's, I think, 11 seconds to go. You've already got the lead, and all they got to do is eat up the clock, right? Well, they decide to play hot potato down for the layup. Russell Westbrook's got an absolute gimme of a layup, and he misses it. Gets down on the defensive end. First off, those two guys, one of those two dum-dums, they should have just dribbled out to the corner and tried to eat up as much clock as they possibly could until somebody fouled them. Neither one of them did that. I was disappointed that neither one of them had the state of mind to realize that. But they went for the layup. Okay, I guess I could understand it. Take the points. They're there. You got to make the free throws anyways. If you do get fouled, I still think it was a huge mistake. But then the far bigger mistake in my mind, even greater than the layup, even greater than not pulling out, trying to eat up an extra 5 or 6 seconds off the clock, try to get that game to wind down, was the fact what happened on the defensive end. Not only did Russell Westbrook miss the layup, you get to the defensive end, and he fouls him on a three-pointer with the game on the line. You can't frickin' do it. You just can't frickin' do it, especially on a three-pointer. Look, man, if he makes it, he makes it. He makes it. The Timberwolves win the game. Cool, good for you. You hit a game winner. Proud of you. But you can't foul the dude. You can't do that. So Westbrook pulls the double whammy, misses the layup, and then fouls the three-pointer. Nuggets lose the game, and now you officially got swept by the Minnesota Timberwolves on the season. It's pretty scary, man. I do a show with Scott Hastings, Polumbus Hastings and D-Mac on Altitude 92.5, 12 to 3. If you haven't checked it out, best sports talk show in the city, if I say so myself. And Scott always does his best to calm me down when I freak out. So when I say today, hey, man, I just don't want to play the Timberwolves in the playoffs, he's like, relax, they can beat them. Look, I got no doubt in my mind. The Nuggets starting five are capable of beating anybody. But the bench is an issue, and Russell Westbrook's been an issue of late. So Russ is going to play in the playoffs, but can you count on him? That's the question. I don't know, man. There's a lot of magic early in the season with Russell Westbrook, and I know Coach Malone loves him. I don't know how the team feels about him right now. I've got no insider knowledge, so don't take this as insider knowledge. I'm just connecting dots. I'm just trying to put myself in their shoes. Russell Westbrook has been a head case for a month plus. Whether it's turnovers, whether it's missed opportunities, he's really hurt this basketball team, and I don't know how that locker room feels about him right now. I don't know where those trust levels are at with Russell Westbrook. But the Nuggets don't have a choice but to play him in the playoffs, and Nuggets fans just got to cross your fingers, hope and pray that you get the good Russ. Maybe you get some of that magical Russ that you got earlier in the season, and cross your fingers, hope and pray that you don't play the Timberwolves in the playoffs, but you probably will in the second round. So can the Nuggets beat the Wolves in the playoffs? Yeah. You got to get all your starting five back. It would help if Jamal was out there. It would help if MPJ was out there. And hell, they did almost beat them without Jamal, without MPJ. They're certainly capable of it. But sometimes in sports, man, you just play a team that you get snake bitten against, and they got your number. Right now, it's sad to say it, but the Timberwolves absolutely have got the Denver Nuggets number the same way the Denver Nuggets have got the Warriors number. The Warriors can't beat the Nuggets. They would do anything to buy a win for the Nuggets, but they can't do it. And that's where the Nuggets are at with the Timberwolves right now. So Nuggets are a roller coaster, man, and I have no clue what we're going to get as we go into the playoffs. But here's cross your fingers, hoping, praying to get everybody healthy, get Jamal back, get MPJ back. Hopefully Aaron Gordon can stay healthy, get healthy, and your starting five doesn't miss a game in the playoffs. So bummer of a game last night. I do have this Spurs game on. I'm watching it right now at the time of the recording of this video. Nuggets are losing 71-57, but they also don't have a starter in the game. So this is a throwaway game. Nobody cares about it. Last night was not a throwaway. All right, I told you guys there were some new rules that got voted into place for the NFL. What are they? Well, let's start with the boring one. The boring one is that the new kickoff rule that everybody hated from last year, that's staying in place. It's staying in place with a small little twist. The new twist this year, because what happened last year, teams just started kicking in the end zone because they didn't want to risk a return. The whole point of the changes were to try to get more returns. They weren't getting the returns, and every team was just choosing to punt it or to kick it into the end zone, just like they were previously. So the NFL is trying to fix that. Now, if you've got a touchback, you kick the ball into the end zone, there's a touchback. The opposing team is going to get the ball in the 35. Okay. It probably will discourage kicking the ball into the end zone. I mean, getting the ball in the 35, that's pretty significant. I don't know how significant it is, though. I mean, we still might see teams just kick it into the end zone. You still might say, all right, look, you still got to go a long ways to score a touchdown, and they would rather risk you having to string together plays offensively than have an explosive play on a kickoff return. I don't know how much is really going to change. Maybe you're going to see some more kickoff returns. No matter what, it's an ugly-looking play. It's a stupid-looking play. I hate the new setup of they called it the dynamic kickoff. How about they call it the static kickoff? Because absolutely nothing exciting happens with the kickoff. But they're still tweaking with it. They're still messing with it. They're still trying to get more returns. And one thing I do give the NFL credit for is that more so than any other league, They make rules changes every single year. And I think that's good. I think that's healthy. They make rules changes for health reasons mainly, and they make tweaks to things that do not work. Another change that won't affect the game, other than it won't look as traditional, is they're going to use Hawkeye technology. So gone are the days of 4th and inches and you pull the chain gang out there and you see if you got the first down. Now they're actually using chips in the ball. They're using modern technology. They know if it's going to be a first down or not, just based off the chips, based off the sensors, based off, I don't know. I'm not a smart man. I'm not a very smart man, Jenny. But the technology will tell you if it's a first down or not. That doesn't change the spot. They still have to rely on the spot from the referees, but based off wherever that spot is, wherever that football is set down on the ground, that will tell you whether it's a first down or not. Should speed up the game here a little bit. But actually, I think I'm going to miss the days of the chain gang coming out there. I'm actually being serious. It was dramatic. It was kind of fun, you know? It's 4th and inches. Bring that chain gang out there. You got the referee going, nope, 4th and inches. We still got this much to go. Or we got the first down, right? I thought it was kind of fun. You will never see that again unless you're doing the chain gang for your 6th grade football team where they do not have Hawkeye technology, but we're never going to see that again in the NFL. Now, the other rule change that is the biggest rule change is that they've changed overtime rules and regulation. So a lot of people complained about this for a long time, that they hated the fact that the team that gets the ball first, if they score a touchdown, it's game over. I was not one of those folks. I'll talk about that in a second. But those days are over with. So much like in playoffs, the other team gets an opportunity to respond. Now in the regular season, the other team will have a chance to respond. So both teams get a guaranteed possession. It's a 10-minute clock. And here's what I think is going to happen. I think you're going to have a whole lot more ties in football. That's what I think is going to happen. I think this is going to come back to bite them in the ass. Nobody wants a tie in the NFL. This is America, and this is football. Nobody wants to see ties. Now, team marches down the field. They score 7 points. Other team gets the ball. They march down the field. They score 7 points. Guess what? 10 minutes is over. 10 minutes is over with. You might not even get a third possession. 10 minutes could get eaten up like that in overtime. 2 possessions, both teams score a touchdown, both teams score a field goal, and you've got a tie football game. So I'll be fascinated. Look, maybe I'll be wrong on this. Maybe there won't be more ties. But my gut tells me this is going to really bite the NFL in the ass. I was not one of the folks that hated the overtime rules. I know a lot of people hated it. And you always hate it when your team does not get the ball first because you always feel like it's not fair. Hey, man, this is football. You got to play offense. You got to play defense. How about you just get a stop on defense? Get a stop on defense. Anybody ever thought about that? I mean, can we just get a stop on defense? By the way, the Broncos got one of the best defenses in the NFL. They should be able to get stops in overtime. The other part about it, it was freaking dramatic. It was freaking fun. Was anybody complaining when DT caught that ball from Tim Tebow in overtime against the Pittsburgh Steelers? Got that walk-off touchdown? Anybody complaining about that? It was fun, man. The coin toss mattered. You win that coin toss, you get a chance to go win a game right here, right now. It's fun, dude. As a fan, your team gets that ball. Let's go. Let's go win the freaking football game. Now, both teams get a possession. That's cool. I guess for all the crybabies out there that kept saying that overtime rules weren't fair, now you got it fair. Guess what you're going to get? You're going to get ties. You going to enjoy that? You're going to like that? The last tie in the NFL was 2 years ago. I bet you we get 4 or 5 ties this year. I bet we got 4 or 5 games that end in a tie score this year, and I'm going to hate it. I'm going to hate it. Here's the other thing about it. I will be fascinated to see what teams do if you win the toss. Logic would tell you in overtime, if you win the toss now, you're going to want to play defense, right? because like in college football, you want to know what your opponents do first. You want to know whether you need to score a touchdown. You want to know whether you only need 3 points. Logic would tell you that's what you would do. But what people have not taken into account so far, what happens if the team that gets the ball? What happens if you defer? You choose defense, and the team that gets the ball eats up 8 minutes of that clock. They run the ball 10 times. They march down the field, and they eat up 8 minutes. An 8-minute drive isn't unheard of. A 10-minute drive isn't unheard of. These things happen all the time. The team marches down the field. They take 7, 8 minutes off the clock. They score a touchdown. And now because you deferred, well, okay, you know what you got to do. You got to score a touchdown. But guess what you get? 2 minutes. Minute 30. Minute 45. Whatever it is. So you defer. You've got a bad defensive possession. You let the other team march down the field. All of a sudden, what you thought was going to be a strategic advantage of playing defense first turns out to really hurt you because now you got to go into 2-minute mode. Now you got to go into hurry up mode. I don't know what teams are going to do. I think most teams will still defer, but there's going to be a team or 5 that chooses to take that ball first because they're running the hell out of the ball that day. And they say, we're going to try to eat up as much of this time of possession as we possibly can. Deion Sanders goes for it first in college football. He's nuts for doing that. You can tell him I said it. I love you, Deion. Love you what you've done for the program. Love that you got the extension. But going for taking the ball first in college overtime is insane. And I'm going to be fascinated to see how this thing unfolds. I'm not a fan of it, as you can tell. But all you crybabies out there that have been crying about the overtime rules for years now, you got your way. Both teams get a guaranteed possession. I hope you enjoy your Thai football games. All right, again, appreciate the Safeway, the title sponsor, Mount Polumbus Speaks. Make sure you download that Safeway app. For all you guys that are watching on Twitter right now, and I know the far majority of you are, if you could do me a solid, do yourself a solid, hit that link in my bio, go over to YouTube and subscribe to my YouTube. First off, I'd really appreciate it. Second off, you'd make sure you don't miss out on any of my content. And then finally, if you really love me, if you're a Mount Polumbus Speaks super fan, you want to help my channel grow, go over to YouTube right now, like my video on YouTube, comment on the video. You would really help the algorithm. 4 or 5, 7, 8, 9, 10 comments on one video does wonders for the algorithm, helps my channel grow. I'll be a super fan of you if you're a super fan of Mount Polumbus Speaks, and love you guys. I'll be back with you guys.